Okay, so we can get started. So I was recommended this device for you by your rehabilitation counselor. So I am going to essentially be teaching you how to use the device today. The device that we have in front of us, Tori, is the NLS Talking Book Player. NLS Digital Talking Book Player is another name that people use for it. But essentially, this digital talking book player, I was told that you really love to read, but due to having low functioning vision and not having the greatest visual acuity at this stage in your development, that reading has become very difficult and that you are unable to read regular or large print. So the NLS Digital Talking Book Player is a great resource because all of the books that are used on this device are audiobooks. They come on a little cartridge, and the cartridge is basically inserted into the NLS Digital Talking Book Player, and it begins to play the audiobook. So it's totally auditory. It kind of takes out that component of having to read print for people who do not have a high enough visual acuity that allows for functioning vision. So today I'm going to be teaching you just how to do a couple of just very basic things just to kind of get you started. And then as time goes on, we can progress to learning some of the more advanced components of the device. But today we're going to just kind of keep it pretty simple, okay? Does that sound good? All right, so before we get started, I do have some pre-assessment questions for you. Those are just essentially to kind of just help me better understand how to teach you. The first question is, are you familiar with technology, or would you say that you come from any degree of technological background?
I'd say I'm pretty familiar, and when I'm not, I can pretty much figure it out.
Gotcha, okay. Are you familiar with, or have you ever heard of audiobooks or books on tape?
Yes.
Yes, good. Would you describe yourself as a tactile learner? So would you say that you are good at learning through touch?
Yeah.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you describe yourself also as an auditory learner?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, auditory learner.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that you do well with functionality, or like learning how things work, maybe like learning smaller components to like a larger device per se?
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely? Okay, that's good, because that's really how you kind of need to be able to learn and operate to function with this device.
Right.
Do you fare well with identification of shapes or tactile patterns? Would you say that you're good with identifying shapes?
Yeah.
With touch?
Yeah.
Okay. What type of learner would you say that you are primarily? Are you more tactile, or are you more auditory, or maybe a different kind of learning style?
So usually probably visual / auditory.
Visual / auditory. Okay. And then, are you comfortable with guided interaction through physical touch? So are you comfortable with, for example, me doing like guided teaching with you to kind of show you placement of buttons? Okay. All right, so that is it for the pre-assessment questions. So we are going to get started with our device. So the first thing that I want you to learn to identify on the NLS Talking Book Player is the power button. So one of the cues that I want to kind of give you directionally is this little cartridge slot right down here. If you can locate the cartridge slot, I feel as though finding just the primary buttons are going to be pretty easy. So to the up and left of the cartridge slot, you're going to kind of move over to your left, and you're going to feel a circular button, and it's going to actually have the letter P in Braille to the right of it. That is the power button. So if you hit that button one time,
This one?
no, if you go up and over, it's a circular button to your left. And then if you hit it one time, hold it down.
Player on.
So that turns the player on. And then it'll also kind of tell you the power level. So it has 5 hours of power remaining. And then if you were to hit the power button again, so feel for the cartridge slot, move up to your left. Yep, that circular button.
Battery charge remaining 5 hours. Battery powered. Press this power button to turn the player off.
And then if you press it again,
Button again. Player off.
that turns it off. So if you hit the power button one time, it turns it on and it'll just kind of tell you the battery life. If you hit the power button a second time, it'll again tell you the battery life, and then it'll also signal for you to press it one more time to power the machine off, and you just have to click it one more time to turn the device off.
Okay.
The next button that I want to have you locate is the next, I think, most distinguishable button, and that's the play stop button. That is going to be right above, right there, that squared button that you feel actually right above the cartridge slot.
Yeah.
So that is going to be the button that you're going to use to either play or stop an audiobook once it's inserted into the cartridge. To the left and right of the play stop button, you're going to feel two little triangular buttons. So to the left of it is the rewind button, and it actually has the letter R in Braille underneath it. And then to the right of the play stop button, that's big square button, that other triangular button that you're feeling right there, that's the fast forward button.
Okay.
So we're not necessarily going to be utilizing those a lot today. I mostly just want to kind of really get you to be able to insert the cartridge and essentially know how the audiobook plays on this particular device. But we can play around a little bit with the fast forward and play stop button, but we're not going to go into a lot of depth with it.
Okay.
Okay, so the next component that I want to have you do is learn how to insert the cartridge. So if you feel to the right of the machine, yep. So there's a little finger hole at the bottom of the cartridge. And the way that I have it placed is how you're going to insert it. So if we turn on the power button, if you can locate the power button, remember it's the circular button up and to the left.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. Battery charge remaining 5 hours.
So you are going to grab a hold of the finger hole, yep, and you're going to just insert the cartridge into the slot there,
Play
and it'll
stop.
automatically play.
Play with fire. A Kate Shugak mystery.
Current position.
Play with fire. A Kate Shugak mystery.
So we can hit the green,
Time remaining
the
7
square button
hours,
again, play stop button,
29.
and that stops the book. Hit it again,
Copyright.
so then it kicks back up the book again. So play stop.
Read by
Now if you go over to your left,
Fox.
or I'm sorry, go over to your right, we're gonna start with fast forward. If you click that button,
7 hours.
Just once.
35.
click it just once.
5 seconds.
So every single time you press the fast forward and the play stop, or the fast forward and rewind button, it's going to fast forward it, and it's going to signal to you how many seconds it's fast forwarded. And usually if you hold it down, it'll fast forward for a longer duration of time.
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Once, Kate
And then if
Shugak
you click
was
on the
already
rewind button,
under the egg.
Back. 10 seconds.
so you clicked it twice, so that's why it was 10.
Edgar Wharton.
And then click it again.
Back.
5 seconds, yep. So based on just how many times you click it, or if you hold it down, that's essentially how the fast forward and rewind button works. So it'll just kind of be, I always would just recommend to just click it one time, just so that you don't overstep how
Right.
much you fast forward or how much you rewind the
figure out
book.
how much.
Yeah, yep, so that's what I, would recommend to students. So, at this point, if you feel like you are comfortable, I want to try to have you, I'm gonna remove the cartridge and I'm gonna turn the machine completely off.
Okay.
And I kind of just wanna see how you do, and I'll just kind of be evaluating you,
Okay.
how you do with inserting the
Okay.
cartridge, turning the machine on, locating the play stop button, inserting the cartridge, finding the fast forward rewind button,
Okay.
essentially, okay?
Sounds good.
Alright.
Power. Battery charge remaining 5 hours. Battery powered. Press this power button to turn the player off. Player off.
Okay, so I'm gonna grab a pen to take some notes. Alright. So,
You're just gonna like go, turn it on, or then on, or do you want me to just go through the whole thing and like turn it on, put it in?
nope, it's gonna be all independently.
Okay.
So, just first locate the cartridge, and then just kind of maneuver your way around the machine, and I'll be taking notes. Alright, I am ready.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. Battery charge remaining 5 hours.
Play with fire. A Kate Shugak mystery.
Current position.
Library of Congress annotation.
Time remaining forward 10 seconds.
Escanor. Where her talent for detection makes her the toughest crime tracker in the
Play,
stark and mysterious land.
Right.
After a fort
Back 5 seconds.
crime tracker in
Back 5 seconds.
far Alaska North. Where her talent for detection
Now, can you
makes her
stop the
toughest
button, turn the
crime
machine
tracker
off?
in that
Player off.
Awesome. All right, can you try it for me just so that we have just consistency?
Mhm.
2 more times?
Yep.
Okay.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. Battery charge remaining 5 hours.
Play with fire. A Kate Shugak mystery.
Current position.
Library of Congress annotation.
Forward 10 seconds.
To the charred woodlands to look for wild mushrooms. Instead, she found
stop.
a corpse and a disturbing mystery. The victim was
Back 10 seconds.
after a forest fire. Kate ventured into the charred woodlands to look for wild mushrooms.
Player off.
Awesome. All right, and then just one more time.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. Battery charge remaining 5 hours.
Play with fire. A Kate Shugak mystery.
Current position.
Library of Congress annotation.
Time remaining forward 5 seconds.
The victim was the son of a local priest,
Stop.
and Kate's investigation leads her to an
Back 5 seconds.
The victim was the son of a local preacher, and Kate's investigation leads
Player off.
Awesome. Nice, good job. All right, so yeah, so that's basically the device. Would you say that that's pretty simple?
Yeah.
Nothing too complicated. Yeah, it's an awesome tool. It's a great adaptation tool, especially for students like yourself who do really enjoy reading. You know, just for leisure. And that's really what this device is for. It's for students who like to read just for leisure. There are 2 forms of the devices. This is the more simplistic one. There is one that's more advanced and it has about 5 more buttons than this one has. So, but yeah, so that's essentially it. So do you feel like you've kind of mastered it and learned it pretty well? You think that you'd be
This is like
comfortable with?
pretty easy to figure out. I mean, the shapes are pretty distinguishable
Right.
from each other, so
Yeah,
it's
and
not
that's-
hard at all.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the things that I wanted to highlight was
Mhm.
that the shapes are so distinguishable, so it makes it super easy to kind of learn how to navigate through it all.
Yep.
All right, so the last thing that I want to do is give you an assignment. So in my opinion, as I was kind of putting together this lesson plan, one of the things that I really wanted to highlight was the idea of repetition. I personally always feel like students learn best when they just kind of repeat things and procedures and steps over and over and over again. So that is essentially your homework. It is to use this device independently outside of class and just kind of learn it. Again, the next time that we come together, we'll kind of pick up on some of the more advanced components of the machine. I'll show you the one that has a couple more buttons, and so we'll kind of go through some of those, more advanced steps of it, and I'll show you other buttons and just different functionalities on this device. But for now, I think that we're good. The very last thing that I want to do is recommend just a couple of tutorials and websites online for you if you are interested. It's not, this part's totally optional, so it's not a part of your mandatory homework. But the first one is going to be the NLS Digital Talking Book Player, a step-by-step overview and detailed exploration of the device on YouTube. So it's going to be a video, and all of these that I'm naming off, by the way, I'm going to emboss for you so that you have them in Braille format.
Okay.
And I do also want to highlight that all of these are JAWS accessible. And then the second one is going to be the NLS Digital Talking Book Player DBTM How-To Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped. So again, that's going to just kind of be like a how-to guide. It's going to be very similar in format, like what I've instructed you to how to do today with all of the buttons, but it's just going to be a little bit more detailed and have quite a bit more information than what I've provided today, which is good. The third one is the NLS Digital Talking Book Player Online Manual. So that's, again, just going to kind of break down all of the various components and functionalities of the device in a way that's easily understandable, though, to the reader. And the last one is obtaining a free player via the National Library Services for the Blind. So NLS stands for National Library Services for the Blind. Here at the training center, a lot of students, such as yourself, receive audiobooks through NLS, actually. So it's totally accessible while you're here at the training center. Basically, but if you wanted to, we have tons of audiobooks in the library here at the training center that come from NLS, but if you wanted to obtain an audiobook free through NLS, it's a link that I've provided that gives you the opportunity to do so.
Okay.
And then I did just note here that I will highly encourage you to communicate with your rehabilitation counselor if you are interested in obtaining your own NLS Digital Talking Book Player. That's going to be something that, while you're here at the training center, we have the NLS Digital Talking Book Players to use. But if you did want to obtain your own, your rehabilitation counselor will, of course, be who you'll want to go to.
Okay.
To talk to about that. All right?
Yep.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
are all set. Thank you.
Awesome.